To Be Hero X has this strange talent for blindsiding you. One week you're laughing at its absurdity, and the next you're staring at the screen realizing you just watched a story that cuts deeper than you expected. Ghostblade's arc is one of those moments. It's a story about silence, not the calm, comforting kind, but the kind that isolates you. Ghostblade has spent decades living in that silence, and when he finally decides to break it, it's already too late. What he thinks is reaching out looks to everyone else like something much darker. And that's what makes this arc so unnerving. It isn't just about the fights or heroes or even the sci-fi weirdness creeping into the story. It's about what happens when someone who never learned how to connect finally tries and only ends up causing more damage. Today we're going to dig into Ghostblade's arc, the past that shaped him, the uncomfortable mess his actions create, and what this all might mean for the future of To Be Hero X. Ghostblade's story starts long before he ever became one of the world's top heroes. Before the swords, before the rankings, before the name Ghostblade even existed, there was just a boy who stopped talking. Growing up in a big family, he was surrounded by noise, siblings talking over each other, parents stretched too thin to notice the one who slipped further into himself. For Ghostblade, stillness became precious, something to protect, and as he got older, that stillness hardened. He wasn't just reserved anymore, he was detached. He became comfortable with things that should have disturbed him, like killing animals without flinching. He started dreaming of being an assassin in his mind. Removing someone from the world, even for a moment, meant bringing peace. And in a strange way, he got exactly what he wished for, just not in the way he imagined. When the FOMO app exploded, turning viral moments into living, breathing heroes, Ghostblade became one of its first creations. People saw him as the silent beauty with a blade, the perfect mysterious fighter. That image stuck, and a decade later, it still defines him. But while the world saw a cool, untouchable hero, what they didn't see was the man underneath. Someone who had spent so long in his own shell, he didn't know how to live outside of it. And that's the tragedy of Ghostblade's origin. That same silence that made him powerful also left him emotionally stunted, unprepared for even the simplest human connection, which is exactly why, when he finally decides to reach out to his estranged daughter, everything that follows feels less like a reunion and more like a disaster waiting to happen. Ghostblade's silence defined him for decades, but this arc shows what happens when he finally tries to break it. His decision to reconnect with his daughter, Nua should have been the start to something hopeful. Instead, it becomes the heart of a slow, awkward spiral that he doesn't even realize he's creating. He treats his attempt to see Nua the same way he approaches everything else, with precision, planning, and attachment. Instead of reaching out, he follows her, he watches, he studies every move. What he sees as preparation looks to everyone else like stalking. To Nua, this isn't her long-lost father clumsily trying to reconnect, it's a stranger shadowing her every move, someone she doesn't trust and can't understand. That disconnect spills over into Loli's life too. From her perspective, Ghostblade isn't just awkward, he's threatening. Someone who suddenly appeared in her orbit, hovering too close too often. Ghostblade in his warped logic even decides she's the problem. That Loli is a bad influence on Nua and needs to be dealt with. What's unusual is the way To Be Hero X frames these moments. The arc almost slips into a slice of life pacing at times. Awkward dinners, uncomfortable small talk, and a father trying and failing to bridge decades of silence. There's even a painfully awkward sequence where Loli's dad tries to play wingman for Ghostblade, nudging him toward Nua like this is a romantic comedy instead of a tense family drama. Even in the lighter moments, there's a shadow hanging over everything. The presence of the fear cult, they're barely seen, but their reach is everywhere, quietly pulling the strings, quietly corrupting, and reminding us that no hero is safe from their influence. This section of the story mixes tones constantly, moments of awkward humor that make you squirm a little, moments of tension that come out of nowhere, and it works because To Be Hero X isn't letting the audience rest. It's funny, it's sad, and it's uncomfortable all at once, and it leaves you with this question in the back of your mind: where is this leading, and how bad is it going to get? Hey there, looks like you've been caught in Dio Stan the World. While time's frozen, don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe so you never miss any future content. Alright, time's up, back to the video. The Ghostblade arc marks a turning point for To Be Hero X, setting up storylines that will shape the episodes ahead. For one, it deepens and reframes Loli's arc. Her episodes already showed us her determination, but now her willingness to go toe-to-toe with a top 5 hero like Ghostblade, even with her trust value scraping the bottom, says a lot about where her story is heading. It makes you believe she could actually climb to rank 6 in just a year, not because the show says she will, but because she she's already fighting at that level in spirit. The kind of character groundwork that pays off later, showing us she isn't just another hero in the making, she's someone who will bend the whole system if she has to. Then there's what this arc reveals about the balance of power. DJ Shindig openly admits he's now stronger with fear than he ever was with trust, but somehow Ghostblade dismantles him like it's nothing. It implies that the top 5 heroes aren't just legends, they're operating on a level we haven't even fully seen yet. If Ghostblade can do that with ease, what does that mean for Hero X himself, who sits above them all? Or for Queen, whose methods are entirely different. For Lin Ling, the lowest of the top 10, but still capable of staggering feats. The hierarchy feels suddenly sharper and much more dangerous. But Ghostblade's arc isn't only about rankings and power levels, there's an emotional core that's tied to much older wounds. Years before the events we're watching now, Ghostblade killed Shang, a former ex. He was little Johnny's father. That single act didn't just ripple outward, it detonated something that's still shaking the present. It makes every moment in this arc feel heavier because Ghostblade's personal tragedy isn't separate from the larger story, it's woven directly into it. That leads to one of the biggest questions in the series: what caused Johnny's rage? We saw flashes of it at the end of episode 12, that violent outburst that felt like the start of something huge, and now it doesn't just feel like an unexplained plot twist, it feels like the kind of pain and betrayal that comes only from a lifetime of buried trauma finally tearing loose. Imagine standing next to someone you're supposed to trust only to realize they're the one who shattered your family. That realization would break anyone. And hovering in the background of all this is the fear cult. Their reach has been everywhere in this series, and here it feels more insidious than ever. They aren't just summoning monsters or recruiting villains, they're bending events, pushing people toward breaking points. When you think about Johnny's looming rage, you can't help but wonder how much of it is his own grief or how much of it has been nudged along by the cult. Are they just watching and waiting for chaos to bloom, or are they planting every seed? What I'm starting to love about To Be Hero X, the deeper we get, is that it doesn't feel like it's rushing toward answers. It plants pieces, awkward dinners, strange UFO crashes, family tensions, and then lets them sit, almost daring you to forget about them, then they suddenly matter again. Ghostblade's arc isn't a noisy, explosive chapter, it's deliberate, patient, but every scene feels like it's a part of a larger puzzle, one we won't fully see until arcs like the Johnny's fully erupt. The Ghostblade arc definitely leaves you with more questions than answers, but they're the right questions. What happened the night Johnny lost control? How much of the fear cult's influence have already been placed into other heroes we trust the most? And when all these threats collide, Ghostblade's past, Johnny's rage, Queen's redemption, and the lingering shadow of Hero X himself, will anyone come out of it unbroken? Ghostblade's arc leaves a weight that's hard to shake. It's built on still moments and small choices that spiral into something bigger, showing us a hero who has spent his life in silence and is only now facing the cost of that isolation. His attempt to reach out to his daughter is clumsy, uncomfortable, and at times unsettling, but it feels painfully human in a way few arcs manage. What stands out about To Be Hero X is how much ground it covers without losing focus. There are moments of humor, moments of tension, even moments that feel like a slice of life story, but all of it makes the emotional core sharper. Ghostblade isn't just another top 5 hero swinging a sword, he's a reminder that even the strongest characters in this world are fragile in their own ways. This arc doesn't resolve everything, Ghostblade's choices still hang in the air, and they've already begun shaping what's coming next. From Lowly's climb through the rankings to the storm building around Johnny and the shadow of the fear cult, every scene feels like it's leading somewhere, and now the pieces are set for those threads to finally collide. Ghostblade's story feels restrained compared to some of the louder arcs in this series, but its impact is undeniable. Catch you in the next one.